Hi, everybody. It's Dr. Dawn. Welcome to Mystical Monday, the 8-8 Gateway Lionsgate Portal edition today. Yay. This episode is pre-recorded because due to all of the frequency and energy that's going to be coming our way through the universe, I have opted to do some things where I can enjoy this moment all day. I'm going to take it all in, use it to my benefit, and attempt to manifest, not attempt, to get in the flow of manifesting all of my wants and desires. So I'm not going to be here with you actually on the screen, but I am going to be in the live chat. So if you're watching this during 9:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday, August 8th, I am in the chat room to answer your questions and to filter through your comments and to get through this entire session tonight with you in the spiritual realm, not so much in the physical realm tonight, okay? So you may hear this music in the background tonight, hear it. We are going to do something a little different tonight. Tonight, we're going to do a little meditation before we start to get us kind of in the flow and to absorb and take in some of this 8-8 Lionsgate portal energy tonight, okay? So while we wait for everybody to come in, we're going to kind of close our eyes and get in the flow, okay? So let's do that. And let's get into the business tonight of manifesting and connecting to the divine spiritual realm, all right? Let's close our eyes and I'll tell you when to open them back up. Breathe in, breathe out, close your eyes and just sit with yourself. Many of you may feel a rocking movement as if your body is shifting forward and backward. Mine is shifting like crazy. That is the energy transference through your body. For some of you, that is the Kundalini. For others, that is energetic frequency downloads and upgrades. And for all of us, it's getting in alignment with our chakra system. Open your eyes. Ah, it feels good, doesn't it? Feels really, really good. I think we're ready to get moving, okay? All right. I gotta say my spiel. My name is Dr. Dawn. I am an intuitive guide and spiritual messenger. It is my purpose on this planet at this time to be of service to the collective, to serve as a messenger between the spiritual realm and the physical realm. I am the go-between. I'm the one in the middle relaying messages from spirit to the collective in this format, which is Mystical Monday Live, but I also do it in one-on-one sessions where I introduce you guys to your spiritual team, which consists of angels, spirit guides, divine beings of light, ancestors, and deceased loved ones that are here and serving on your team at this time to help you move towards your dream and life's desires while you're here on the planet, okay? So that's who I am. And so tonight we're going to talk a little bit more about this Lionsgate portal, but we're going to talk about it in the way in which it affects us, okay? We know that it causes, from our last talk, last Monday, we talked about how it causes us to have energetic upgrades, how we're going to receive activations in our portal systems back there, AKA our chakras, and how some of us are going to be in super manifesting mode because our thoughts are becoming our realities during this portal. So it is very important during this time, remember, to be mindful of your thoughts, be they positive or what you consider negative. They are actually moving in the speed of this energy to manifest in your life right now, okay? So with that in mind, we have to talk a little bit about the shadows that most of us are dealing with, okay? So tonight we're going to deal with shadow work, shadow work, shadow work. It is the one thing that is assisting. Don't look at it as like prohibiting you from reaching your manifestation. It is assisting you in reaching your manifestation. You want to know why? Because your shadows are the things that are subconsciously hidden emotionally by you. That's considered the darkness, okay? You can't get to where you're going until you bring up all of this darkness so it can be met with the light, so it can be transmuted, healed, and pushed back out into the universe, away from your inner system, AKA that chakra system. So we like shadows, okay? Let's not give them a negative connotation. Let's address them and use them for what they are. They are assisting us in elevating and increasing our awareness of who and where we are in our journey, okay? So first of all, let me tone down the music in the background. There we go. So you guys can focus on me now and not the music. It was calm and soothing, but I want you guys to be aware, awake, and attentive to the message. Okay. So when we deal with shadow work, we must first understand that the shadows are usually experienced by us via negative self-talk. That's usually how you can identify what your shadows are. This is when you are usually telling yourself what you can't do, what is difficult for you to do, how you are not capable of doing or having certain things or being certain things. Shadows usually present themselves in the form of negative talk. We all do it, we all have done it, and we all continue to do it. When you ignore this negative self-talk, a lot of you think that's a good thing. I'm just going to ignore it. I know that's my shadow. I know that's my ego talking, so I'm just not going to pay attention. But the only thing that is wrong with that is that when you don't pay attention to the shadows, they don't go away. They just suppress themselves subconsciously and get louder. Okay. And when they get louder, they will manifest themselves into your physical reality. For example, an example of shadows presenting themselves in your physical reality would be poor self-esteem. It would be depression. It would be anxiety. It would be you practicing and demonstrating deception towards others, meaning saying and doing things that are not in alignment with who you are, AKA lying sometimes. You performing like offensive behavior towards others, inflating your ego, self-sabotaging yourself, and just struggling to have healthy relationships all the way around. This is how your shadow presents itself. So if you can find some type of relation to any of those categories that I just named, guess what? They're rooted in shadows. Okay, so we can't just ignore these things. Like, we know when we have poor self-esteem, you can't ignore that, because that is rooted in a foundation that is showing itself as poor self-esteem. But it may come from something, as we talked about last week with the example I gave you of the client of mine who had been abandoned at birth and put up for adoption. That abandonment turned into a shadow, which then presented itself throughout her life in the form of poor self-esteem. So we address the shadows as they come up. All right. So if you are not careful and you continue to ignore the shadows, they not only get deeply rooted subconsciously and manifest themselves into your physical reality, but then you also start to project these shadows onto others. You start to see the things in others that you subconsciously like recognize within yourself. I'll give you an example for me. I have been notoriously known throughout my life for criticizing like the appearance of women. Like, I would say, oh, she doesn't need to wear that. She knows she's too big to have that on. Oh, she's too old to be wearing that. This was not now, you guys, I'm doing now. But I'm saying I used to do that a lot, but until I realized I'm just projecting my insecurities onto that person. That person doesn't feel what I feel because they're wearing and doing what they see fit and what is comfortable for them. But because I'm not comfortable doing what they're doing, I'm projecting my discomfort onto them, my shadow onto them. Okay, so that's another way that your shadows will show themselves if you don't deal with them and address them. So even now, with the insecurities that I have as it relates to physical appearance, when I catch myself even thinking or getting in the process of speaking, or even if I speak it, I'm so aware now of that shadow that I can immediately address it on the spot, stop it, block it, heal it, and move it on out of my energy field. Okay. So that's kind of how we deal with these shadows. We need them to kind of keep us in check, so to speak. So don't look at them as a bad thing. They're a thing to get us in awareness of where we are in terms of our alignment. All right. Now, when you get ready to do shadow work, because remember I told you guys, I said, people love to come to me to hear what their spirit guides have to say, or their team, what their spirit team has to say. When you come to me for a one-on-one, your spirit team gives you an in-depth analysis of every facet of your life as it relates to your relationships, your finances, your health, your spirituality, like everything. They give you the whole 9 yards as it relates to your life. And they'll tell you, okay, you have a trauma in this area because of this. You have a trauma in this area because of that. We recommend or suggest you do this, you do that, you do this. They give you a whole plan of action, okay? Which consequently is designed to address your shadows. They help you identify the shadows, tell you the root cause of them, and then tell you kind of how to go about clearing them. That's the whole point of the one-on-one, right? So I told you guys last week, what happens is people take all that information in. It's a lot to take in because here I am telling you about your entire life, and I don't know you at all. So I'm divinely guided with all of this information, and you take it and you feel so like great and overwhelmed. And then people will come back a month or two later and they're like, well, now what do my spirit guides have to say? And I go, well, did you do all of the stuff they suggested last time? Well, not quite, but I want to see what they got to tell me now. No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. We are in an energy now of evolution as a collective. Okay, no more for that entertainment and that thrills and chills of, oh, I'm going to see a psychic, I'm going to see a medium, I'm going to do this. Well, I'm neither. I'm not a psychic or a medium. I am a guide that can give you information beyond the veil. Okay, And so that's what I do. And so people have to understand it is my goal to help you evolve and move forward so that you become your own divine light. You have your own divine connection with your spiritual team, and you have a sense of inner peace and knowing and truth as to who you are, and you can walk confidently on your path and purpose here. So I always tell you guys, as I did last week, you get all of this through your shadow work. Okay, your shadow work is identifying all of the preconditioned kind of heavy things that have been placed on you from the time you came out of that portal, which is your mother's womb, and your soul was no longer of the divine. Well, it's still of the divine realm, but you no longer have remembrance of who you are. You are stepping into this earthly plane with no knowledge of who you are and absorbing all that this earthly plane has to offer in terms of convincing you that you are not divine. So you are now doing shadow work to like scoot all of that out of your energy field and get back to the truth of who you are, which is a divine being of light, a soul that is here to have a human experience, okay, through your spiritual form of being. All right. So when we do shadow work, we're working with the unconscious mind to like uncover the parts of ourselves that we have repressed and hidden from ourselves. Now, some people do it on their own. Some people seek out professionals, like I guess you, like myself. Okay. People who you come to get guidance from as it relates to shadow work. Your shadow is, it's not a mistake or a flaw, because a lot of people, like I said, look at it as negative, you know, as all the negative things about you. It's not the negative parts of you. It is just the parts of you that have been kind of consumed or indoctrinated into the earthly plane. Okay. This whole shadow work thing is about developing self-awareness. That's all it is. Getting into your conscious self. Because the self part of you is a conscious, enlightened being, okay? But because of all of this earthly lower vibrational frequency, you get a shadow cast over yourself. So you can't see your light. Well, that's a better analogy, okay? And so when you do this shadow work, you're practicing and learning how to notice your inner shadow by learning to look at the habits that you have. So let's get into that, okay? Because people usually say, well, how do you do shadow work? I want to help you guys get started on that, because a lot of you say you do it, but I don't know if you do it, or I don't even know if you know how to start doing it. So you guys take notes, okay? Because this step 1, step 2, step 3, let's figure out how to do this shadow work, because I want you to do it not only tonight, doing this portal opening, this 8-8 portal opening where the frequency and vibration is through the roof. Do it beyond this, because look, the portal is at its highest peak on 8-8, but look, it's opening. So now that it's opening, everything's coming on through energetically. So if you're doing your shadow work simultaneously, you are simultaneously taking advantage of these activation and light codes that are being downloaded into us right now and healing all of our subconscious shadows, okay? All right, so when you start to do shadow work, first thing you need to do, look at all of the things in your life. Well, let's go back to childhood. Let's start at childhood. Let's go back to childhood and let's explore instances where you felt like less than or uncomfortable, or where you were treated bad. Go back to those particular instances. You might say, oh, I can't remember that. Yes, you can. You can remember those instances from childhood to adolescence to teenage years to young adult years. You can remember those things that have happened within that sequence that have caused you to feel bad, hurt, angry, mistreated, used, pain, sadness, guilt, like all of that. You know those feelings. I can think of quite a few, as I've given you guys examples in the past. A lot of memories that I have are related in my younger years to my parents, and kind of like them not communicating very well, aka arguing a lot. And so as a result of that, I developed this ability. My intuition started getting heightened at a young age, because I didn't realize it, but subconsciously, I was developing the ability to kind of read the room, meaning trying to discern when an argument might break out and when it was not, based upon the energy that my parents were displaying in the room. So believe it or not, I was tapping into my intuition at an early age, didn't realize it, but it also gave me like bits of fear because I had the knots in my stomach, wondering, is it going to be a day where they argue or is it not? So that is a trauma as a child that actually turned into a strength as an adult. Because remember, I told you guys, it was based off of fear. But look, I was tapped into my intuition and I stayed into that throughout my life of reading people and rooms based off of my childhood experience so that I could be aware of what people were feeling or how they may respond or act according to my actions. Okay. So you do that. Go back to your childhood. Think of something that sticks out where the feeling was a feeling that didn't make you feel good. It didn't make you feel good for whatever reason. And examine that feeling. Okay. All right. So we went to childhood. We got that. I'm going to use me throughout this because it's easier for you guys to get in the flow if I stay in the flow with this one example. Okay. So now I realized I'm exploring my shadow, right? So I know as a result of having fear of my, parents maybe arguing or getting into it, I started developing the ability to kind of read the room, to discern and figure out kind of what the energy was like and what to expect. And I also developed a notion of trying to be a people pleaser, because as a child, I thought if I could appease both of my parents and maybe keep the peace, I could, change the mood and thus prevent an argument. So I started to try to please my parents to keep the peace. Now this is developed in childhood. So then look, it carried with me as I went through adolescence, teenage years, adulthood. I became a person who, tried to like say things or do things to not just keep the peace, but to like get people to like me. Because why? Remember my childhood trauma. I want to prevent an argument. I want to prevent people going at it. So look, I became a people pleaser. Okay, here we go. We're going with this shadow. Now you guys are probably saying that's probably not a bad thing to try to keep the peace, right? And to try to keep people from arguing. But it's a bad thing when it comes at the expense of you compromising your beliefs and what you feel for the sake of trying to assist or control an outside situation. Okay. So one of my shadows, as I've explained to you guys before, was to remove that whole concept of wanting people to like me or wanting to please people or wanting to say and do things to try to keep the peace. That was subconsciously weighing very heavily on my energetic chakra system. It kept me in a place of always feeling dissatisfied. You know why? Because I always felt like I was giving out more energy to other people than I was getting back. So it always made me feel like I was not appreciated enough, or people didn't respond to me the way I responded to them. So I kind of felt a lack of like love. Okay. So then what does that do? Here we go. That filtered into my feelings of like self-worth. Okay. Maybe I'm not worthy to receive that. So that's why I don't get it. So let me just keep giving it to other people. I'm just going to keep giving it to other people because, they need that. I don't. I'll be okay. I'll be all right if people don't like reach out to me or check on me or try to do, I'll be okay just as long as I'm helping them. So then you get into this mode of wanting to do and help others. And then what does that do? That leads to self-neglect. That leads to all kind of things that keep spiraling. See how these things keep spiraling? It's a domino. It keeps going and keep going and going. But when you do that shadow work, you start at the beginning. Then you see how that connects to this part, then it connects to that part, and then it keeps connecting, you guys. It all comes from that beginning. All of these other types of shadows developed from that one shadow I had as a child. Okay. All right, so I did that. Step one, I thought back to my childhood and I recognized, and you may have more than one. I'm just giving you one right now for sake of time and because we're going to go through this. So, okay, I went back. Step one, I went back to my childhood and explored instances that felt not right to me, made me feel bad, made me feel uncomfortable, made me feel as if I wasn't treated adequately. Okay, that's step one. Step two, let's embrace this shadow. Okay, I'm going to embrace it and I'm going to have compassion for it. So here's my shadow. The shadow that I'm going to embrace is people pleasing, low self-worth. I'm going to embrace a couple of them at one time. People pleasing, low self-worth, lack of feeling loved, and inability to like maybe feel satisfied with how people respond and interact with me as it relates to relationships. Okay. All right. So I'm going to embrace that shadow. I'm going to embrace it by like basically having compassion for myself and telling myself that, you know what, you put out what you wanted to get back. Okay. I trust that although I am not receiving what I feel I need to be fulfilled, I know that as long as I love myself, that is enough. And that now that I am aware of my shadows and what I am putting out and not getting back, I am now aware of a boundary that I need to put in place so that I no longer do anything that feels uncomfortable for me for the benefit of someone else. So I am embracing this shadow. I'm embracing it because now I'm aware of it. I know how I can deal with it. And I know when it pops up into my energy field, how I'm going to respond. So look, now I'm in control of this shadow. I'm in control because I know when it pops up, I recognize it. And then two, I know what I'm going to do with it. Okay. So that's number two, embrace the shadow. Embrace the shadow, talk to it like I just did. Talk to your shadow, talk through it, and then like tell it, okay, I'm going to put this plan in place and this is what I'm going to do. Okay. So two is embracing your shadow and talking to your shadow. Talk yourself through it. All right. Number three, meditate to observe your triggers. Oh, this is important, you guys. So we know that meditation is so difficult for everybody. How many people say, I can't sit still, I can't hear my thoughts? Well, look, now this is mindful meditation, meaning you're going into the meditation with an intention that you're going to set. So stay with me in my example. We're going to stay with me, and I am going to go into this meditation as it relates to me identifying the triggers that may put me into a place of my people pleasing, my self-worth, my wanting to be liked, my giving out more energy than I give back. Like, what are the triggers that are going to place me in those situations? Tell me, let me meditate. Come on, higher self. Come on, God. Come on, spiritual team. Everybody come on in right now as I meditate, and help me to see the triggers, the things that might put me in that place where I don't want to be. Okay. This is number three. So I go into this meditation with this intention. Okay. I play my music if I want to play it. I sit if I want to sit. I lay if I want to lay. I walk if I want to walk. However you want to meditate, you're setting this intention ahead of time. All right. So let's say I'm walking. I choose to walk for this meditation. I'm setting this intention, talking to my team, talking to God, saying, hey, everybody, you guys show me the triggers. So I'm walking. And all of a sudden, into my thought process, my brother comes into my mind. I'm like, oh, why is my brother coming into my mind? Like, what does that mean? Let me explore that. You keep walking. You see a vision. And you keep seeing your brother. I'm like, my brother. So then you start thinking, like, what does my brother have to do with the trigger? So then look, your subconscious is going to bring it up. It's going to start giving you all these thoughts. And so it'll say, and this is real life. That's why I'm using this example. So I'm going to tell you how this worked when I worked through my triggers. So my thoughts kept coming through and my spirit was coming through. My chakras were opening, giving me some examples. They say, well, you're the older sister. You've always had this feeling of being like a second mother. So you often, come into your brother's life and you do things like a mother and you expect him to respond back like a son. But he doesn't because he's not your son. He's your brother, not your son. So that's something you need to heal right now. Like, don't make him the blame for you feeling like you're not getting enough love and attention because you feel like you are his mother and he doesn't look at you that way. That's not his thing. That's yours. So that triggers you every time he doesn't respond the way you think he should, or he doesn't look at you like you should. So let's work through that. Okay, so I'm walking. All right, so my team is going, and I'm going, wow, okay, I guess I never looked at it like that. All right, team, keep it coming. Let's go. Let's keep going. Now you're having this dialogue in your head because this is how it works. This telepathically, you're talking to your higher self, you're talking to your spirit guides, you're talking to your spirit team, you're talking to everybody, okay, at this time. And you're working through it. And you're going, okay, I recognize that. Let's heal that. Let's heal that trigger. Or let's make it so that this is not a trigger anymore. Help me to, when I get into this place, that I don't even feel any emotion with it anymore. Like, let's work on that. Your team goes, it's done. Your higher self says, all right. And so you are working through it. Here you go. You're working through it. That's one. Okay. You keep walking. I'm still walking. I'm still meditating. They're showing me my triggers. Okay. So I keep going and I keep going. And then they say, I see my birthday. I'm like, my birthday? Like, what in the world? What's my birthday have to do with like releasing, these feelings of people pleasing and, wanting to be liked and self-worth and what? So they say all your life, you've never really celebrated your birthday. You've always celebrated other people's, put your emphasis on making other people happy because you've never thought that other people would do it for you. So you've never even like entertained the thought of people celebrating your birthday because you felt like they wouldn't. So now you're at a point in your life where you blame them because they don't. It triggers you on your birthday. Like if somebody doesn't say happy birthday or they don't call, but you did that. You set that up. You set that stage all your life of basically telling people you don't want to acknowledge your birthday. And so they don't. So now it triggers you because now you're looking at how you've helped and done for other people's birthdays. You put out that energy and you feel like it's not coming back. And so now that triggers you, because you feel like they don't like you or they're not, you're not living up to their expectations. So it's a trigger. So look, I'm going, oh my God, I never looked at it like that either. Like, I'm like, oh my God. So I'm still walking. All this stuff is coming up while I'm walking. This is how it works, you guys. You are automatically wired. That system back there, those portals wire you to the spiritual cosmic realm. You guys have access to all the information you need. You must mindfully and intentionally access it. And with this portal opening, everything you speak and think is being heard and addressed immediately. That's why I am impressing upon you guys to take advantage of this time. This portal is opening. It's not just one day. It is opening and it's going to be open for a little while. That's why I'm getting you into this flow and this awareness so that you can use this to get your healing going during this time. Okay. All right. So that's number 1, 2. Let me see. We said, think back to your childhood. We said, embrace the shadow. We said, meditate, to ask to observe your triggers and then, to kind of identify them and meditate on them and get some resolve. And so next we're going to keep a shadow journal. Let's do that. All right. So in this journal, you're going to make a daily practice of like expressing all of your sides of yourself. So I'm going to be honest with you guys. I did a journal a little bit. I'm writing the stuff down, I'm good at just up here, like daily kind of making mental notes of stuff, but some people want to journal, so you guys can journal. But start journaling like your behaviors during that day, like if anybody triggered you or what your feelings and emotions were like, and then what caused you to feel like that. See if these shadows that you've identified are showing themselves in your daily life. Okay, because here, this is what I want you guys to realize. Don't get into your mind that your shadows, once they're gone forever, like they leave you. No, 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 no. The goal is not to make you shadow free. The goal is to help you to be aware of the shadows so that you can respond accordingly and they have no effect on your well-being and your daily life. Okay. So once we take the emotion out of the shadow loses its power. So that's all we're trying to do, is take the emotion out of it. So now in the example that I gave you, like, I don't have any emotion attached really in the example as it relates to my brother, because now I'm realizing, okay, he's my brother. He's not my son. Like, what the heck am I doing? Like, you just, as the big sister, you just take that role on and you just expect accordingly. But I have to realize my brother's a grown man, with his own life and his own mind and his own decisions. And so now that was brought to my awareness, that was part of me trying to fulfill a role that he didn't need me to fulfill. And I didn't need to feel a certain kind of way because he wasn't responding a certain kind of way. And I didn't need to do things a certain kind of way. Now I don't have any emotion attached to that whole thing. So it's no longer a shadow that triggers me or disrupts my energy flow. Okay. All right, so let's keep going. We got the journal, we got that. Now I want you guys to start using external means to express your shadow. Now, let me tell you what that means. So for me, this shadow that I explained to you guys, I said, oh, I used to people please. I used to want to be liked. Well, I think we all kind of want to be liked, right? But I have come to the realization now that if you don't like me, oh, well, I mean, just one less person in my energy field. So I've grown leaps and bounds with that. But let's express our shadows externally. Let's say that I'm doing my shadow work, right? And I'm still finding that this shadow keeps, like, not haunting me, but it keeps coming over me and I can't get through it and I can't get past it. And I just keep feeling miserable and depressed and sad. You've got to bring that shadow to the external you, meaning express that shadow outwardly via like drawing or painting or walking or exercising. I think that's why I walk. My meditations are in walks because I think I put it all out there on the sidewalk when I'm walking or wherever I am. You guys see I'm a hiker. I put it all out there on whatever I'm hiking or whatever I'm going through, on a tree, or I go outside and I leave it. I'm good at external use or external placement of shadows, because that works for me. May not work for you. You may be able to do like the meditation we talked about, where you sit and observe the triggers, do it that way or whatever. I mean, whatever works for you. But external shadow work is like good for a lot of us, okay? So that's where you take the shadows and you move them outwardly, okay? Move them outside of this energy field called your body, your aura, your chakra system. Throw them out there into the universe. And so you can do that. Like I say, examples, there are many ways to do it. People do it through yoga. Some people do it through dance. Some people do it through art. Some people do it through like walking, jogging, exercise. Some people do it through Reiki, energy healing. Some people do it through sound bowls or baths. Like, it's all different kind of ways to take it externally. You may want to do all of these things to clear it. Don't just find which one works. Maybe all of them is what you need. Do a little bit of everything. But this shadow thing, takes a little bit, because all it is moving and transmuting energy, lower vibrational energy from subconsciously here all the way out into the universe, back out into the universe. Okay. You know what? If you want to get real snazzy with it, the next one, let's ask your shadow questions. I love doing that. Oh my goodness. I just gave you guys an example of it when I was walking, and I was kind of talking as I was subconsciously, bringing up all of this information while I was kind of doing my meditation, my mindful walking meditation, and bringing up the triggers. I was actually having a dialogue like, oh my God, like I never realized I did that. Like, wow, and then I start asking my shadow questions. I'm like, it may feel weird, but it's okay. I mean, the best sign of knowing you're spiritually awakened is when you start talking to yourself, because you think you're talking to yourself, but you ain't. This physical body is talking to your spiritual self and spiritual plane. So you'll start asking questions like, well, dang, I didn't realize I did that. Do I do that with other people besides my brother? And then what? My higher self, my spirit team goes, well, yeah, actually you did. Then it goes through a list of people that I did with all throughout my life. And I'm like, oh, I'm a mama to everybody. I try to be everybody's mama. Yes, you do. But it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, but you got to understand, as my team told me during this walk, they said you cannot expect people to give back to you what you give to them, because they may not have it to give. And I don't mean like financial things. I'm not talking about that. I mean energy, emotion, and time. Some people are not in that place to give it. So because you are, doesn't make them in the place to be able to give it back to you. So you can't hold that against them. You have to do it unselflessly. It's like selflessly. But again, you guys, look, I'm going back to that childhood trauma. That childhood trauma says, well, look, if I give off good energy and vibes, I'll set the good energy and tone like for my parents, and then they won't argue, and then we'll be all happy, and then it'll be a good day. So I'm doing it in a different form now. I'm like, if I will step up and do this and be like that and help that, then this person will magnify it back to me. Like, see, it just, y'all, it's just a revolving thing. It's a revolving thing. Okay. So the one thing we should do, you got some steps now to do some shadow work. This is enough to get you going. What we need to do is just become friends with your shadow. That's what I do now. I'm telling you guys, when any of my shadows come up, like if I get self-conscious about something, or I start to get like annoyed or irritated about something, or I'm always going to the root of that feeling or emotion. I'm going, now, why do I feel like that? Am I feeling like that because I'm hating on this person? Am I feeling like that because it's something within me that I'm projecting out into them? Or am I feeling like this because of something that happened, in my life? Or am I like, I'm always asking now when the emotions come up that are not in alignment with me, okay? And when I say emotions that are not in alignment, these are emotions that don't feel good to me, okay? Alignment usually symbolizes you feel at peace, you're happy, you feel joyful, you feel one, you feel connected with God and the source. Anything that takes you out of that feeling, okay, is a potential shadow. And you need to explore where it's coming from, why it's there. Okay, so I've made friends with my shadow. So now shadow work isn't bad for me. In the beginning, it was like, oh, not the shadow work. Oh my God, I'm going to, you feel like you're going to start seeing all the bad parts of you. It's not the bad parts of you. It's the hidden parts of you. That's all it is. Hidden parts that you either haven't wanted to address, or you don't know that they're there to address. So that's why they call them shadows. That's it. Okay. But as long as you're on this physical earth, you'll have shadows. But you will develop the ability to respond accordingly to them, okay? To where there is minimal to no emotion behind the triggers that are rooted in the shadow, okay? All right, so shadow work. That's what you're doing now and forever, actually. But now with like some vigor during this time. We're going to like pump it up. We're going to like light the flame, and we're going to go full blast right now. Okay. We're not scared of it. We ain't running from it. We're addressing it right now. And then guess what you do after that? You surrender to the universe. So you say, Dawn, how do you surrender to the universe? Because I can't let go. I can't detach. I'm holding this shadow because this person did this to me. I can't let it go. I'm going to do this shadow work, but then I can't guarantee it's going to work. But then after the shadow work, then what? How do I release it? Because I don't think I'll be able to surrender and release it. Yes, you can. You surrender it to the universe by first believing that there is the possibility of something bigger and better happening in your life. Okay. Understanding that there is a knowing and a trust that you have to have, that things are always guiding you to your highest good, no matter how bad it looks, no matter how low vibrational it makes you feel, it's still guiding you to your highest good. Every shadow that you have is guiding you to your highest good. Let the universe take the wheel. You know, come on, Christians, you say, let Jesus take the wheel. Jesus, universe, God, all one, all the same, Buddha, everything. Take the wheel. Higher being, divine being of light, universe, God's classroom. Take the wheel. Sit back and let the wheel be taken. Loosen your grip, because all of us are trying to hold on to outcomes. We are trying to predict. We are trying to orchestrate what's to come. We can't do that anymore in this new energy. You have to flow with it. Okay. So you have to be able to show up to what's showing up in your life. Remember, like attracts like. If all this chaos is showing up in your life, it's showing up because you're putting it out. So if you're putting it out and it's showing up, release and say, guide me, assist me, show me how to remove this chaos out of my life. Okay? You have to always remember, whatever is showing up in your life is showing up for you to address it, deal with it, heal it, and grow from it. Everything happened in your life. I don't care if you've had a breakup with someone. I don't care if you've got a medical illness. I don't care if you've lost a lot of money. I don't care if you're in jail. I don't care if you're losing like people, things, material things, all of that. It's showing up. It's showing up, you guys, because something is showing out of you that needs to be healed and addressed. So respond accordingly. Bring it on in, take it in and say, okay, I see this is happening, that is happening, that is happening. Okay, what is this trying to show me? Get into the shadow, get into it and see, what is this showing me? Okay, do that shadow work. And then guess what? Take action. Take action. Because you can't sit back now. You can't sit back and go, oh, the Lord will take care of it. Oh, God got it. Oh, no. He's bringing it to you. God is bringing it to you to show you you. And so you got to take some steps to move accordingly. So while we're in this portal, and all of this frequency is coming in, and all of these downloads are coming in through them chakras, and all of these light activations are happening within. Them portals turning on, and they spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning, and all the chakras are lighting up. Get into an awareness of the truth of who you are. If you ain't never knew who you were, know now. You are a divine being of light, a spiritual being having a human experience. Get into it, because your spirit body is upgrading at rapid speed right now. And the result of that is your physical body having some experiences that it's never had before. It's going to have not only emotional experiences, it's going to have a lot of supernatural experiences. The word supernatural is probably going to be second nature to us after a while, To see things that you can't explain are going to be your norm from this point on, because you're opening up to the awareness and the presence of more than just what you see with your eyes every day. Okay? It's getting ready to get real mystical for y'all. So Mystical Monday, honey, I went back and forth when I tried to think of what to call these sessions on Mondays. But the word mystical stood up because it's going to be the essence of what we're going to be living by, because everything's coming to the surface now. All things that were hidden, all things that were feared, all things that were not explained are now coming to the surface for you to understand and for you to evolve as spiritual beings. Okay? That's all mysticality is beyond the veil, spirituality. So now that your spirit bodies are coming to the forefront, your human bodies are trying to catch up in awareness. So I hope that this has helped you guys understand shadow work, what it is, how to go about doing it on your own if you don't have the opportunity to work or with someone or get guidance. This should help you get moving. Okay, but you got to do it, or else guess what? Your experiences keep happening over and over and over and over again because they're trying to get your awareness. When you get the awareness, the experiences stop. You don't have to keep having failed relationships. Once you figure out the shadows that are causing it, you won't have to have it no more. But as long as you are not dealing with it, guess what? You'll get in the same type of relationship, but with a different person. Okay? Because it's still that same energy there, still that same shadow that's still trying to be worked out. Okay? That was just an example with the relationship thing, because I get a lot of people who are trying to manifest significant others. And so they just bump their heads against the wall because it's the same thing over and over because they're not addressing it. Don't be afraid of your shadows. Your shadows are nothing to be afraid of. They are designed to assist you in being able to identify the parts of you that you need to heal. That's all, so that you can evolve. That's it, period, point blank. That's all they're for, okay? All right, so I have enjoyed this session with you guys, even though we're not on live. It has been a joy. I should be in the chat with you guys if you're on live on Monday night, August 8th. For those of you who are watching the replay, please feel free to leave me some comments to share your experiences if you like, as in terms of your shadow experiences or shadow work that you have done or are doing, or just anything as it relates to shadow work or surrendering to the universe. I love to hear you guys feedback and comments. And so if this information resonated with you guys, please like, share, subscribe to my channel so that this information can go out to those who are in need of this message, okay? All right, I am Dr. Dawn. It has been a pleasure. Remember, you guys join me Monday nights, 9:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Discovering Your Inner Light on YouTube, okay? All right, everybody enjoy this 8/8 portal. Get somewhere if you can, sit down, connect with your inner self, or walk and connect with your inner self and follow some of these steps for our shadow work, okay? This is your time. You've earned it. You asked to come on the earth, to incarnate on the earth during this time because your soul was ready, okay, for what is coming to our planet and the evolution that is happening to us all, okay? So just remember that you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Okay, I will see you guys next Monday. Everybody take care. Enjoy this 8/8 Lionsgate portal, and God bless you all. And you could have been anywhere that you wanted to tonight, but you were here with me. And I say thank you so much. Okay, see you next time. Bye-bye.